me like you've got a problem or something. Acting up here don't really mean shit to me unless you're gonna fight me here now.
Think that Jake would have enough time, seeing as he's already undersized. He's not a real heavyweight, and this is Anthony Joshua we're talking about.
Really. If he takes a big punch from Jake Paul, if he gets hurt in any way by Jake Paul, if he doesn't absolutely ice Jake Paul within a few rounds of this 8-round scheduled bout, well then it really affects his credibility.
Tensions exploded at the press conference when Anthony Joshua confronted Jake Paul over what he felt was blatant disrespect. The heavyweight champion reacted with real anger, making it clear he was fed up with Paul's comments and behavior. The moment quickly escalated, showing just how seriously Joshua is taking this matchup and how close the situation is to boiling over before the fighters even enter the ring. The heated press conference was only the start of the wider conversation surrounding Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, with experts breaking down the risks and stakes of the fight. Legendary trainer Barry McGuigan delivered some of the sharpest criticism, explaining that even seasoned boxers would feel genuine fear facing someone like Joshua. Having spent decades around elite heavy punchers, McGuigan emphasized that a single clean shot can flip the entire fight instantly, highlighting just how dangerous and unpredictable this matchup could become.
Some people are saying, you know, AJ's grabbing the bag. There's nothing wrong with that, because anybody else, if they got offered that kind of money, they would do it. So, yep. And some people are suggesting he might damage his legacy. Where do you sit with the decision of him taking that fight? And it's a professional 8-round fight as well.
Yes, it's a highly dangerous fight for Jake Paul. I don't know what he's doing, unless they have done some sort of caveat or some sort of agreement that he says he's going to go easy on him, or he's not going to go flat out. But you know, I've been tossing this up and down in my mind and trying to figure how, and under God, when he had agreed to fight someone like Tank Davis, who is, you know, several divisions below him. That's more like what Jake Paul does. And then he goes from there to fighting Anthony Joshua. I mean, just look at what happened to Francis Ngannou, who's a big, athletic, tough guy and had gone 12 rounds with Tyson Fury and given him a real ding-dong. And then he gets absolutely obliterated in a round and a half against Joshua. That shows you, despite the fact that he's been knocked out since by Daniel Dubois, who could knock out anybody, by the way, in any weight division or in any era of the heavyweight division. He's such a powerful guy, he could knock anybody out if he hits them properly. But you know, it just seems utter madness. And
Wade, host of the Wade Concept podcast, revealed that Jake Paul's secret weapon for the Joshua fight has now been exposed. He explains that Jake has been sparring with multiple heavyweights to simulate Joshua's size, reach, and experience. These sessions help Paul prepare for real heavyweight power while improving his timing, footwork, and defensive reactions. By training against opponents who closely resemble Joshua, Jake is trying to prepare himself for the massive physical and tactical challenges ahead.
Joshua fight, if you're Jake Paul, who hasn't fought someone in the top, realistically, the top 50. I know Tommy Fury is ranked in the top 50, but anyone that is a top 50 fighter, even in your weight class, let alone a top 10, top 5 heavyweight in Anthony Joshua, who was a 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. Can you get prepared for a guy like that if you brought in, let's just say, a deity, freaking Zeus, Hercules, whoever, to prepare you? Could you do it? I don't think that Jake would have enough time, seeing as he's already undersized. He's not a real heavyweight, and this is Anthony fucking Joshua we're talking about. But I will say, there were rumors going around that Jake was not taking this fight as seriously as he needed to. That Jake was dilly-dallying, flying to go see F1 in Miami after his press conference, and then going to see his girl all the way in the Netherlands if she's trying to qualify for, I think, the Olympics or something else. There was this post from his girlfriend. I don't know if, again, this was in the Netherlands or where it was at, or maybe this is an old picture, but Jake flying around the world when he has a fight in about 4 weeks is probably not the greatest look, and it doesn't seem to make it look like he's taking it as serious as he needs to, locked away in the gyms of Puerto Rico. Now, again, that could have been a different picture. That could have been something else, but that's pretty shocking to see. With that being said, I want to push back on that because I do think Jake is taking this as seriously as he absolutely needs to, because this is not only the toughest fight of his career, it's the most dangerous to the longevity of his career, to his health and well-being. And so to do something like that, you need to bring in the best help possible to get ready. We already heard that Jake Paul was preparing for Anthony Joshua by sparring the guy that Anthony Joshua was about to fight in Cassius Chaney. This gentleman right here, who was 24-3 from B-More, aka the DMV, and apparently is a top 100 heavyweight, even though it doesn't say he's actually a top 100 heavyweight, but that was what he was being.
Former professional boxer and analyst Spencer Oliver approaches the Joshua vs. Jake Paul fight from a unique angle, suggesting that the matchup carries symbolic weight for the sport itself. Speaking on a panel, he draws a comparison to Muhammad Ali's unconventional bouts that captured public imagination and expanded boxing's reach beyond its usual fanbase. Oliver believes that if Joshua steps into this fight, he is participating in a moment where entertainment, spectacle, and professional boxing blend together. The event could draw entirely new audiences, bring younger fans into the sport, and create a cultural crossover moment that reshapes how modern boxing is viewed. By referencing Ali, Oliver highlights how high-profile, unconventional matchups can elevate the sport globally and generate massive attention, sponsorships, and revenue far beyond traditional heavyweight showdowns.
And pops him a few times in the face, walks out of 150 million quid. No one will remember the fact he fought Jake Paul. They'll remember the fact he knocked Klitschko out in Wembley in 2017.
Totally agree with that.
So I'm kind of, whilst I don't like it, and I don't like the way that Jake Paul gravitates to these brilliant athletes and like a moth sucks the life out of them because he gets the benefit of association, because I think they deserve all the association. But he is a and there is opportunity there, isn't there?
Listen, commercially, of course it works because it'll be huge and there'll be a load of money on the table. And for Anthony Joshua, it's like sort of, you know, he's going to get rewarded very well with no risk, minimal risk, no risk at all. He's going to go in there and he may then put all this stuff to bed with Jake Paul and calling out all these different champions, etc., etc. So, of course it works. And when you're talking about, you know, the credibility that Joshua's going to get, he's not going to get none now, but are people going to remember that? Of course they're not. Like, when he goes on to do what he does, didn't Muhammad Ali have some sort of strange fight in the middle of his career? Didn't he box? Yeah, he did. He boxed some non-boxing guy and whatnot. Like, people don't remember that. That's what I'm saying. Look, us as boxers, we don't remember stuff like that.
It was replicated in Rocky. So, he did a version of Fighting Thunderlips, didn't he? So
Veteran analyst Gareth A. Davies raises significant concerns about the safety of the fight, citing the huge weight gap and drastic difference in experience. He warns that a full contact match between a seasoned heavyweight like Joshua and a less experienced fighter like Paul stretches the boundaries of what is safe inside a professional ring. Davies stresses that if Joshua lands even one clean, powerful punch early in the fight, the consequences could be severe. While the spectacle is entertaining, he argues that regulators and promoters must take extreme precautions because the physical risks are real and potentially dangerous for both fighters.
As I am with you, there is a danger in this fight. The odds are Joshua's 1-12, obviously. Jake Paul is 6-1. Yeah, to win this fight in a two-horse race in which this is a guy who lost to Tommy Fury, Tyson Fury's brother, in an 8-round fight, who, for me, I wrote that it would damage his legacy a week ago. It will damage his legacy for several reasons. If the Deontay Wilder fight never emerges, which it looks like it isn't, I've been calling for that fight for ages. If those two got in a ring together, it's still a massive fight. It's a dangerous fight to sanction, in my view. It sets the wrong precedent. It is 10-ounce gloves, it is a boxing match, it's not an exhibition. This isn't a 58-year-old Mike Tyson. This is one of the most dangerous finishers in the world, who is probably 5 levels above Jake Paul and a weight division above him. I think it's irresponsible to let those two in a ring together in a proper boxing match. That's my view. It doesn't damage his bank balance, but if he earns $70 million for this.
Boxing analysts Angelo and Josh deliver a technical breakdown, stating that while Jake Paul is courageous and improving, he is simply not on the same level as elite heavyweights like Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder. They point out that fighters like Joshua and Wilder possess timing, precision, instinct, and raw power that come from years of high-level training and natural physical gifts. These attributes allow them to change the outcome of a fight with a single perfectly timed punch, something smaller or less experienced fighters cannot replicate. Angelo and Josh emphasize that bravery does not equal skill, and while Jake's confidence is notable, it cannot replace the experience, instinct, and ring IQ that top-tier heavyweights bring into battle.